Alright guys, so before I do the Week 4 NFL season predictions, I just want to say I'm going to start off a video wearing my Ravens jersey and my Orioles attire at the same time, because after I do the picks for Week 4, I'm going to share some exciting news about the Baltimore Orioles, as I got the game right here on right now. So, anyways, let's get into the Week 4 picks. So, Thursday Night Football, which will begin soon, between the Lions and the Packers. I got Detroit winning this one. I do think Jared Goff will do enough to get the victory, going up against a Green Bay Packers team that looks to be competitive. Next up, on to the 1 o'clock games for Sunday. Baltimore Ravens against the Cleveland Browns. People may think Cleveland's going to steamroll them with the defense that they got and Deshaun Watson getting better. But I picked the Ravens because I'm just going to go all in on my team, hoping that we can bounce back from that miserable, heartbreaking loss to the Colts on Sunday. I'm going to pick my team to the very bitter end. Next up, we got the Commanders and the Eagles. I got the Eagles winning that matchup. Washington can put up a fight though, but at the end of the day, Philadelphia's gonna dominate that matchup. Next up, we got the 9 a.m. game in London between the Falcons and the Jaguars. I'm taking the Jaguars in this one, despite suffering an embarrassing loss last week to the Texans. I got them bouncing back. Meanwhile, the Falcons, yes, they're 2-1, but I don't think they're ready for the Jaguars, who do so well in London. Next up, we got the Dolphins taking on the Bills in Buffalo. That should be a good one. I got the Bills winning this one. Even though Miami's 3-0, they're looking to go 4-0. They're going up against a Bills defense that they're going to have to prepare for when they go up against them in Buffalo. So Tua has a tough task. Josh Allen, just hope you can keep your performance, going into Week 4, good enough to win that ball game. So that should be a good one from there. Next up, we got the Steelers taking on the Texans. I'm not going to waste time picking that matchup. I'm going to take the Steelers in this one, unfortunately, because TJ Watt's going to lead the defense to victory. CJ Stroud, yes, he got the victory against the Jacksonville Jaguars, but at the end of the day, he's got a tough defense to face. Next up, we got the Vikings taking on the Panthers. That looks to be a boring game right here between the 0-3 teams. Unfortunately, the loser of this one has to settle in for 4 losses. I'm going to take the Vikings to win this one right here to finally propel themselves to the win column, despite having a rough start. Bryce Young, on the other hand, he's got a lot to learn, so who knows? Maybe it could be somewhat of a low-scoring game. Who knows? Next up, we got the Rams taking on the Colts in Indianapolis. I got the Rams winning this one. Aaron Donald, yes, he got to Joe Burrow a couple times last week. And I know the Rams did not do well enough to win that game in Cincinnati. However, at the end of the day, Matthew Stafford's got to redeem himself. Next up, we got the Buccaneers taking on the Saints in New Orleans. Yes, I heard the news about Derek Carr and his injury. Not so sure he's going to play next week. Meanwhile, Baker Mayfield, rough outing against the Eagles on Monday Night Football. I'm going to take the Saints in this one. I'm going to admire their defense to get to Baker Mayfield, pressure him. Chris Olave, Michael Thomas, and that offense are going to take over. Next up, we got the Bengals taking on the Titans in Tennessee. I got to take the Bengals, unfortunately. Joe Burrow, despite getting sacked a couple times last week, he did do enough to win the ball game against the Rams. Defense looking ferocious. Meanwhile, Tennessee, what an embarrassment. 3 points of offense last week to the Browns. And yeah, Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry, I'm not sure they're going to do enough to propel themselves to the next level against that Bengals defense. So, hate to say it, Cincinnati's, like last year, looks like they're going to go 2-2 through 4 weeks of the NFL season. Now on to the afternoon games, or the 4 p.m. games, if you would. We got an AFC West matchup between the Raiders and the Chargers in SoFi Stadium. I'm going to take the Chargers in this one. And like I said from the beginning, Jimmy Garoppolo is a quarterback that I have no trust in. And through 3 weeks, they have not played a consistent game of football throughout the span of 3 weeks. Meanwhile, the Chargers, yes, they got their first win last week to against the Vikings, and hopefully they can continue their momentum going into the next 4 weeks of the season or so. Yes, there's still 14 games left to be played. Maybe they can bounce back. Next up, we got the Patriots taking on the Cowboys in Jerry's world. I'm going to take the Cowboys in this one. Looking at this matchup right here, I know New England got the win against the Jets, but that was a very low-scoring game. Their offense ain't special, but their defense, hey, they can do whatever they can to stop Dak Prescott and the Cowboys' offense. But in terms of putting up points on the board, I'm not sure if Mac Jones is going to do enough. Dak Prescott, on the other hand, got embarrassed last week against the Cardinals. Defense, they got exposed, so hopefully they can redeem themselves. They can bounce back, get back to the win column. Next up, we got the Cardinals taking on the Niners in San Francisco. I'm going to take the Niners in this one. Legendary defense. Brock Purdy is getting better as the season goes along. Cardinals, yes, they did get the win against the Cowboys last week in Arizona. It was a nice strikeout. But yes, the Cowboys, they beat them in Arizona. Cardinals, just looking forward to go 2-2. Unfortunately, it's not going to happen here. I got the Niners winning this one. Now on to the primetime games for Sunday and Monday night. We got the Chiefs and the Jets on Sunday Night Football. That game looks to be a wash. A lot of us will expect the Chiefs to blow out the Jets, especially nowadays. As the season goes along, no more Aaron Rodgers. So sad for him to go out. And unfortunately for the Jets, tough task right here. So I got the Chiefs winning that one in MetLife. Speaking of MetLife, we go on to Monday Night Football, where we got the Seahawks taking on the Giants in the Meadowlands. Giants on Thursday Night Football last week against the Niners. Awful performance. Meanwhile, the Seahawks played great. They played well enough to win the ball game against the Panthers. Geno Smith's offense is getting better. Defense still a little bit inconsistent. But at the end of the day, I believe their offense will win the ball game for them. So I'm going to take the Seahawks in this one on Monday Night Football. Ooh, crowds very excited in Baltimore. But yeah, those are my Week 4 predictions. To end the video right here, got some exciting news for y'all. I mentioned last video, or the vlog I'm going to upload soon, that I'll be heartbroken for the Orioles if we do not extend, the stadium lease for the next couple of years or so. I do have to say that the commentators have announced that they saw on the Jumbotron that the lease has been extended for the next 30 years, which is amazing news that we love to hear from the fan base, for the team, that we can get to play baseball for the next 3 decades. And that's what it's all about. Camden Yards is a great place to go to. Highly recommend it for you guys. It's especially when the Orioles are playing great nowadays. It's just amazing attraction, historic site. I'm so glad that they extended the lease for the next 30 years. But yeah, that's some exciting news right there. As I'm watching this Orioles game right now, with a chance to clinch the division and the 1 seed in the American League. With that being said, that's all I gotta say. It's been a long day, but at the end, hopefully the Orioles can get it done to win the division, and that the Ravens can bounce back in Week 4 on Sunday afternoon against the Cleveland Browns. So with that being said, that's all I gotta say. Let's get it.